Mumbai is limping back to normalcy after the heaviest rainfall in the last 12 years brought the city to a standstill. Yesterday, as the city picks up the pieces, many are still struggling with damaged houses and cars. So how should you approach your insurance claims? If you have any queries, you don't know where to start, what the right steps are, and how to ensure that you get that payout. Over the next 30 minutes, we are right here and we have experts to answer all of those queries live right here for you. All your insurance queries relating to claims with respect to any flooding answered on Money, Money, Money. Good evening and thanks for joining us on this special edition of the show. I am Surabhi Upadhyay. Well, joining us is the COO of Future Generali, Mr. Iswara Narayanan. We also have Harshvardhan Roongta of Roongta Securities with us. And joining us all the way from Kolkata is Rahul Mohta of Ideal Insurance Brokers. Gentlemen, thank you so much for taking out the time. It is an important time. There are a lot of confused people out there who are trying to grapple with the situation and minimize the financial damage. So, Harsh, let me first start with you. Motor is the first aspect, right? Because there are a lot of people I know out there, some of our colleagues, friends, who simply found their vehicles flooded with obviously the engines having seized up, and then they don't know where to start. Do you immediately call the mechanic? Do you call the insurance company first? How to go?
So, well, Surabhi, when you talk about your vehicle getting stranded, getting submerged in water, the first thing is, if you can intimate the insurance company. Why I say if you can, otherwise it is a mandatory process. Considering where we stay, where we are in the kind of state that the city is in right now, there is a great possibility that the traffic department or any other public authority may move the car away. So ideally, you're supposed to inform the insurance company and not move the vehicle in the state in which it is. So in this current state, when we're talking about a calamity and which the entire city has been submerged, so in that context, you can move the car for the moment, but intimate the insurance company over a phone call at least. They have a call center where you can call them, or you can write an email to them if possible and inform them that the vehicle has undergone this particular issue where it is and it was stranded at a particular location and it has been submerged in water. So the first step is to intimate the insurance company. Now with regards to the process of starting the repair work on the vehicle, wait until a surveyor is appointed. So because the insurance company will take a note of this, appoint a surveyor, the person will come across and assess the loss and he'll give a go-ahead to carry on the repairs. Okay. So until then, wait. But if you wish, at this juncture, when the public authorities will move your car away to a nearby garage, I think you can go ahead and do that at least.
Okay, let's see if we can connect with Mr. Narayan of Future Generali. So one of the issues that comes up, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think one has to be very particular because it seems that if you actually go and try and start your car once water had flooded it in, the chances of you getting that insurance claim perhaps go down. So do throw some light on the specifics and the mistakes that people should not make to ensure that they get that claim.
Basically, what do you call a hydrostatic cover? And normally this, as you said, there is a tendency to crank the engine once, twice and thrice when it is submerged in water. And this is what aggravates the loss to the damage to the engine. So we constantly advise our customers not to crank the engine. In fact, at the sight of a rain, we start sending SMS and send stickers on our website. And even at the time of taking the policy, we advise our customers not to do this because this aggravates damage to the engine. And see, there is an insurance cover for this also as an add-on cover, which can be taken at the time of taking the policy. In which case, if such a loss happens, if there is an ingress of water following repeated cranking of the engine, which one must not do and which one ignorantly does, it is covered under this extension. But all the same, the damage to the car is done. Which way we precisely say this shouldn't be done.
Okay. Sir, stay on with us. I'm also getting some queries, and this is a query from Twitter user Ruchi. She's asking about her car. She says water entered her car yesterday and it doesn't start anymore. So she knows whether the damages are going to be covered under her existing motor policy. This is exactly what we're discussing. And on this, let me also bring in Rahul Mohta. Rahul, what's the first step? Because you don't know if it's an engine damage issue, you don't know if it's brake failure, you don't know what's been damaged. All you know is you see water in your car. So give us step 1, step 2, step 3 to ensure that at least the financial damage can be minimized.
Okay, so as we were just discussing about the hydrostatic lock cover, this is primarily happens the most when the flood water gets into a car. So the engine does not get damaged because of the flood water or any kind of water getting inside the engine. It is actually the subsequent cranking of the engine because of consequently trying to switch on the engine and pushing the key across this thing. This is because the consequential loss happens. So if you ask me stepwise, so if your car is submerged in water and it is not starting, or it has it is in a switched off mode or something, don't try to switch it on. Any which way you will not be able to do too much into it. Second is, first try to get out of the vehicle. We have seen situations wherein the auto locks of the cars gets cranked off and you are unable to get out of the vehicle and get injured because of these things, and try to lodge an insurance claim. So that's primarily the stepwise process. We as a broker, stand an edge primarily because all you have to do is that you just call us up and we take it from there. We have all the details about your policy with us, and we liaison with the insurance company for lodging the claim and subsequently getting the surveyor appointed and all those stuff. So that's primarily, the process for people who have taken the policy through an intermediary.
Okay. Let me ask you, Mr. Narayan, at Future Generali, even for instance, is there anything specific that you're doing additionally to expedite the claim settlement process? I mean, after this Mumbai situation yesterday, what is the response from your end?
Yeah, we in fact, we are attempting to do quite a few things to make customers' life a lot easier. One thing is, yes, we ask them to intimate us either on phone or on SMS or to our office anyway. And we also provide the service of, door-stop flush and clean. Sometimes what happens is the loss may not be major, and, there could be a lot of water ingress into it, and the engine itself may not have been damaged, parts themselves may not have been damaged, and even if they are damaged to a certain extent, it would certainly be a good idea to flush and clean them in the first place. So this is one thing we are giving as a doorstep service. Okay. And of course, this does not mean that the claim ends there. If there's any further loss or damage, those are paid. Secondly, we also have roadside assistance partner through whom we have arranged to, tow vehicles which are, submerged in water. Oh. So that is another free service which we are giving, as an extended act of customer centricity.
Okay. Harsh, let me come down to...
and one more thing, we have also organized a yard. Okay. We have also organized a yard because we perceive that, your dealers' places are supposed to be flooded with cars. Okay. After every flood, the next flood is the flood of cars that happens at the repairer's place. So sometimes they got to get exposed. So we take them to a yard and we have engaged special services to do a complete cleanup there. Not simple flush and clean, but a complete cleanup. Sure.
Let me get down to some more specifics on motor insurance. Harsh, there is also the question of complete loss. Right now, we're only discussing, with respect to flooding in the car. There can be cases where the vehicle itself is drifted away and there's absolute loss. There can be case of specific engine damage. And, throw some light on this, because I believe there are very specific, highly specialized policies to get engine covers. I don't know, do they make sense? And what happens if your car is literally just drifted away or a tree has fallen down on it?
So, there are two kinds of damages. One is a total loss. So, in this case, the cost of repair of that vehicle is possibly equal to the sum insured of the IDV of the car, or is it, it may be exceeding the IDV. So in that case, it is considered as a total loss. The insurance company is better off paying off the entire claim rather than paying for the repair of that vehicle. So that is a total loss situation wherein the company will reimburse you for the up till the IDV that is there in the policy. Now, in case of specific case, we've been discussing not to ignite, not to try and on the car, because it leads to engine seizure. Now, there are certain extension in regular policies which cover engine seizures as well, at an additional cost, of course. So what happens in this case? Now, what we're talking about the cars being submerged in water, the first thing, of course, is that you will not try and on it. You need to tow it away. You do not need to on it, because as we've been discussing all the time, that it is not going to work for long anyways, and it may lead to further damage of the engine. So what you need to do is ensure that it is at least towed away from, it's not blocking traffic, because otherwise the public authorities are anyways going to do that. The government authorities are anyways going to move it away. The traffic department is going to move it away. So it needs to be moved away. Now what happens is, when you take a regular policy, the damage cost due to flooding is included. So whatever is the cost of repair of the vehicle will be paid subject to the policy terms. Now, when there are certain extensions that are available to the regular own damage policies. Now, one is a depreciation reimbursement. In this case, whatever is the depreciation is not taken into consideration, but actual cost is being reimbursed to you, whatever is the cost of repair.
Okay.
Then you have engine seizure, which is in this case, in case you try to on the car and engine has got further damage, and because it is ignorant and the insurance companies understand this, they give you coverage for that as well. So and the cost, the incremental cost to cover these add-on benefits are not much. If you take into consideration the benefits that it might give you.
Okay.
So given where the insurance industry stands today, given the competition, each company is trying to come out with add-on benefits which are more elaborate in the scope of cover. So I think it's quite reasonable to say that you should go in for a comprehensive and try and look into the benefits that are available with add-on covers.
And take on the add-ons.
Yeah.
I have a query coming in on comprehensive car insurance and what all it covers. This next Twitter query is from Mayank Shri. Wants to know whether damage due to arson would be covered under this policy. Not strictly a flood-related issue, but I think he just wants more information. So Rahul, let me get you on this. The benefits of going in for a comprehensive car cover, what all will it cover? And some of these add-ons that we were just discussing, engine seizure, specific engine damage, how much will it cost and how should I make sure that I'm covered from all angles with respect to my car?
See, with the increasing competitions, the premiums of vehicles have come down drastically. In order to make up for the downturns in the premiums, insurance companies have come out with a lot of add-on covers, which gives a lot of coverages, as my fellow colleague was just sharing, like depreciation waiver and back invoice policies. Arson, as we were just speaking about, one of your callers having this thing, is covered under a standard insurance policy. For that, no separate cover needs to be taken. But yes, the add-on covers are like free towing facility is something which can be taken as an add-on cover. The depreciation waiver can be taken as an add-on cover, primarily because if your vehicle gets into a total loss mode today, you will not be paid the cost of a new vehicle. You will be paid the cost of a depreciated vehicle. So if you had bought a vehicle worth of 10 lakh rupees 2 years back, you might be paid 7 lakh rupees, which will be the value of the policy right now. So if you take a back to invoice cover, so in that case, you take a policy for 10 lakh rupees, and in case of a total loss, the insurance company actually pays you 10 lakh rupees, with which you can buy the similar vehicle at today's market price. So these are some of the things. Then there are loss of key covers. You might be losing your key while being stranded in flood or something. So getting a key replacement for high-end vehicles is now a very expensive proposition. So those covers are also provided. So these are some of the add-on policies we keep on advising our clients. The premiums are not very much. If so, a depreciation waiver cover or a back to invoice cover will cost you something like a 0.8 or 0.9% of the sum insured of the vehicle. So that's a 10 lakh vehicle will cost you another 10,000 rupees as an additional premium for covering the engine stay, the hydrostatic lock cover, and an additional 0.5% for coverages like back to invoice or depreciation waiver.
Okay, all right,
gentlemen. Premiums are always calculated on the value of the vehicle what you declare.
Sure. We need to take a quick break on that note. On the other side, we've covered motor. What about your house? Did you buy that house insurance? If there is flood-related damage, then can you settle claims? If you've not done it today, and if you live in Mumbai, this might repeat. So do you need home insurance? We'll talk about that on the other side. Welcome back. This is the Money, Money, Money special. Rained out Mumbai. We are helping you cope to settle your insurance claims. All your queries answered right here, right now. Mr. Narayan, who's with us from Future Generali. So, simple question. What is the immediate documentation requirement to start filing for claims? And also, there are certain norms, reporting requirements that you have to intimate the company, the insurance company, I believe, within 48 hours of the event. Is some of that being waived off in this case, or will those conditions apply?
Absolutely not. None of these are insisted upon in times of distress like this. Generally, insurers are very, very empathetic with the customers in such situations. Delay in reporting in a situation like this is not considered something very grave as to prejudice the claim. It will not be held against the customer at all. And as regards the requirements for a motor claim are very, very simple. a claim form which is nothing more than a declaration of the basic details of the customer, the vehicle, and the incident that occurred that led to the damage. And as regards the other requirements, it's just the RC vehicular documents like RC driving license and the permit. That's all. Nothing more is required. And if the vehicle is going to be repaired at a workshop, probably the estimate is required because it's the estimate based on which the loss is assessed and settled by us. So barring these, no other document is required.
And can the repair work start simultaneously, or does one have to wait for the surveyor to come in, analyze, give the verdict, and only then can repair start?
Normally it happens the other way around. Actually speaking, it is the estimate preparation that takes a lot of time in such situations because there's a long queue of vehicles awaiting estimates. Okay. So naturally, the insurers who breathe down the neck of repairers. And many a time, that is precisely why what we have come out with is even a facility of, logistics for the customer to shift his vehicle in case a workshop says it's difficult for me to accommodate these money. There have been instances when insurers have been helpful, and particularly we have been very helpful in towing the vehicle, from one workshop to another workshop, even another town for that matter. Many a times it happens that way.
Sure.
And that we bear the cost.
Okay, gentlemen, I now quickly want to move
the reason is very simple. The longer the vehicle remains unrepaired, the greater is going to be the loss for the customer and for us eventually.
Absolutely. Take your point, sir. Now, I want to move to home insurance, which is sort of not a very popular product, I suppose, yet in India. But Harsh, your thoughts on this? I mean, I think the fire policy does cover the property, the house property, against a lot of issues, including natural calamities like floods, right? But I don't know if a lot of people subscribe to a fire policy. What are the conditions that go with it?
So, well, when you talk about home insurance, there are two kinds of covers. One is that protects the property itself.
Yeah.
Against fire, floods or earthquakes. So this is when I'm referring to the product which, if the property has been damaged or there is because of an earthquake, the property has possibly crumpled. So this is one kind of a policy, and which is usually insisted upon by the lenders, the housing finance company. So in case a person is taking a housing loan, the insurance housing finance company insists upon taking a policy like that. So this is one scope of home insurance. The other is when you insure the contents.
Yeah.
So there are furniture that you have, you could have the electronics that you have in the house. So those are the contents which you insure, which you can club together. You can take a householder's policy which insures the property as well as the contents. So this is a combined policy which can be taken by individuals, though it is not very popular as we know, because there are a couple of reasons behind this. One is awareness, of course. It's not that it's very expensive in terms of the costs, it's just that the general awareness is not there. Secondly, when you talk about insuring contents, there has to be a substantial proof of purchase. So furniture, electronics, not many people keep those evidence, the invoices with them. So this becomes an issue at the time of claim then. Okay. So in that case, if at all you got furniture, electronics, you need to maintain all your invoices. And every year when the policy gets renewed, you have to declare a value of that as well. So you have to declare the contents that you have in it, the value, the revised value, because it will be depreciated value. And then you have to continuously renew the policy accordingly.
Sure. Let me actually get in a perspective from the insurance company as well. So, Mr. Narayan, coming back to you, sir. Home insurance as a product, I mean, why is it that it's not being popularized more? Is it not a lucrative product from the company's standpoint? Because I suppose, I mean, in a country like India, there are enough outlying issues out there. Wouldn't it make sense to have home insurance?
It's a very, very good question, very interesting question. In fact, home insurance is a favorite of insurers. It's only that, efforts to make it popular have not yielded results so much, But one thing, before I proceed further, I must make a small correction here that we do not insist on invoices and bills of assets that you have. That is not necessary at all. Because, as you know, you and I don't preserve as ordinary people. We don't preserve invoices of whatever furniture we purchase or gadgets we purchase or gold that we purchase. Actually, if you look at the household, it's a very, very sweeping policy, which is very, very comprehensive in its coverage. It covers the building, it covers the contents. When I say it covers the building and contents, it covers against fire and other accident perils, social calamities and natural calamities. It cannot be more comprehensive. You also have a section there which covers breakdown to electrical and electronic equipment. You also have a covered section there which covers jewelry even when you wear it around against all risks. For instance, if the jewelry is lost, I mean, even other than mysterious disappearance, any kind of mysterious disappearance wouldn't mean that you wore a piece of diamond ring and you lost it in a crowd. It's not mysterious disappearance. It's a clear case of loss. So it covers jewelry, it covers breakdown of electrical and electronic equipment. It even covers public liability. That is, if somebody comes to your house and he falls down, I mean, a government servant or a postman or anybody, and he sues because of your negligence if it happens in your compound, that is covered. It even has a section which covers your liability to your employees. Which I'm telling you, in 5 years, 10 years from now, is going to be very, very difficult.
Sure.
But then, why is it not popular? This is a very good question. I'll tell you my personal experience. In fact, I've talked to more than a dozen people personally to understand the psyche when, post Chennai floods.
Sure.
Now, Chennai floods was one when people saw homes, water masses entering their homes.
Right.
And occupying them and depriving them of their residence for, days together.
Sure.
But after that, was there a spurt in purchase of insurance? No. See, the biggest problem here is that unlike in motor and health insurance, where people see frequency of claims, it makes it so realistic and so immediate.
But perhaps, sir, it's a function of awareness, and gradually, I suppose, I mean, that will, and that's the reason why we're hosting the show right now, to spread awareness and let people understand what their options really are. Rahul, I'll come down to you for the last word here. Any final thoughts, pieces of advice? And also, since we are talking home insurance, which is not popular, perhaps should be popular, what are the rough premium ranges that one can sort of take away and then look at options?
So we are going to have a spurt of inquiries about home insurance for next 7 days, the way we had when we had a Nepal earthquake or last year when we had a Chennai floods. I'm sure it's going to be the same, but as and when the memory will fade, people actually, don't come forward to do it. Just to give you a very small idea about the premium, a 2,000 square feet house with a content worth of 50 lakh rupees will not cost you more than 5,000 rupees a year of insurance premium. And to add to the convenience, you can actually buy a 10-year policy at one go, at least for the structure or the property piece. So it's one of the product of general insurance where you can buy it for a longer duration of time. So you buy it at one time for 10 years. The premium is not going to be 20,000 rupees, at least for the if I talk about the property piece. You get a very hefty discount on the premium if you take it for a longer duration of time.
And what about home ownership, Rahul? Rahul, what about home ownership? Yes. Can it be purchased by the homeowner? Can it also be purchased by the tenant if you're talking about, the contents?
No. The tenant cannot purchase the policy for the property because he does not have an insurable interest on the property he owns. But yes, as a homeowner or as a tenant, there is a additional cover which is known as loss of rent cover. So for example, I live in my owned property and because of rain it gets damaged and I have to shift to a rented apartment. The insurance cover also, if you opt for that cover, the insurance policy will also pay for the rent what you pay for, say 3 months or 6 months till the time your house gets back to normal where you can live in. So there are a host of additional policies, but the challenge here is to make people aware why they need to have a standard home insurance policy, which is not going to cost them, 5 rupee a day or 10 rupee a day at a max. If they go for it. Home is your priced possession. You live in it. Your family gets this thing in it. Otherwise, but the awareness is not there.
Well, that's the effort. That's the effort, gentlemen. That's exactly why all of us are here, Mr. Narayanan. Even after braving, I think Mumbai weather and traffic till 2 a.m. last night, has joined us on the phone to get this off the ground. Thank you very much for joining in and spreading the awareness and the knowledge. That's it on this special telecast of Money, Money, Money.